This community is for black women. If you're not, find another community. And I'm going to be incredibly unapologetic. It's $1 billion industry and we are not in it. We're not even in the conversation. We are not high up in it. I actually want to swear, but I can't because I'm on camera. I was insulted. But in my mind, I'm thinking, oh my God, what's coming next? What's coming next? I can't remember. So I just felt like I'm done. I thought, you do you and I'm going to do me. Hi, my name is Natalia Nicholson and I'm the founder of Women in Digital Business. Now, you are probably watching me because you would have got a message from either myself or one of my team members. And we would have contacted you because we would have thought you would make an excellent speaker for our up and coming summit on October 20th to 25th, which is called the Top 100 Most Powerful Black Women. Now, make no mistake, we put a lot of thought into our prospecting. There isn't one black woman that we have contacted by mistake. We knew exactly who we was reaching out to, and we wanted to reach out to you because we really want to create a space. We want to create a community and an event that will help black female entrepreneurs come along and be able to find coaches, speakers, mentors, counselors, therapists, the help that they need in their own image, where they can relate to culturally. And we want to bring on speakers that have got real stories, not these keynotes that are rehearsed over and over again and spoken on global stages all over the world. We want to bring women in that have got real stories, grit, tenacity, been through some stuff, if you get what I mean. So when we saw your profile, we thought you'd be perfect for this community. So how this is going to work is that I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm going to tell you how I founded Women in Digital Business and how we came up with the summit, the Top 100 Most Powerful Black Women Summit. And that's really what would have turned up in your inbox, your LinkedIn profile, and you might have had some type of curiosity, and that's what this video is about. It's just to give you a background because we want to make sure that we're working with the right type of speakers because I've been through it. I know you've been through it and we've all got stories, but where do I start? So if I go back to probably when I was about 14, I got real curious. I got curious about who am I? Why do I look like this? Where do we come from? Why are we not taught black history at school? And I just had 1,001 questions to my parents and would just get nothing back apart from keep your head down, don't get into trouble, get a good job. And that curiosity led me to, okay, how am I going to find out who am I? And that's really what put me onto books. I hated reading up until that point. And I found a great love for reading just by wanting to know more about who I am. And Malcolm X always said, if you want to hide something from black people, put it in a book. So books really opened up my mind. The first biography that I read was Harriet Tubman. And if truth be told, that's what gave me the grit and tenacity that I've got. I've kind of felt like if she could go through all of that and achieve so many remarkable things and suffer that amount of abuse, I have to be able to get to where I want to be. So at that point, I thought I was going to be the first Prime Minister of Jamaica. So 14, got my degree in marketing, went out into the corporate world. I'm working at Capital Radio, I'm working for ad agencies. Got a bit too big for my boots. So 3-4 years into working corporate after studying, I decided, you know what, I'm done. I've got this. I'm going to start my own online bookstore. So back then, Amazon had just launched. So Amazon's competition was Barnes & Noble. Some of you might have heard of Barnes & Noble, huge bookstore, and then went online also with the internet boom in the USA. So I thought, right, I'm going to launch my own bookstore, A to Z books, and I'm going to really teach my people where they come from. Because I cottoned on by my late teens that for think tanks, for governments, for thought leaders to put so much thought from slavery to flooding the streets with drugs and guns, we must be a pretty powerful type of people for you to keep thinking through the times and all the decades of how do I suppress this one group of people. So that made me feel special, and I wanted people, my own people, to understand that knowledge so they could understand how much power they had. No one's going to hold back a whole race like how we've held back if we didn't have power. So launched my first online bookstore, Passionate, and back then there was no Wix, there was no site builders, there was no Canva, there was no drag and drop, there wasn't even cloud. If only I'd bought £500 shares in Amazon, because could you imagine where I'd be now? I saw the launch of MySpace, it then turned into Facebook. It was Arch Jeeves back then. There was no Google. I remember Google launching. So I've grown up in the digital space. I've watched it emerge and I've watched it just take off into what I could never, ever, ever imagine. So bit too big for my boots. I'm in the corporate world and I'm thinking that running a small business is the same as coming from corporate and the institution of education. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. So I'm operating with this type of mindset and I end up going bankrupt. And I felt a lot of shame. A shame of failure, a shame of having to admit things to people. There were times coming towards the end, I was in complete and utter denial. I might go to a friend's house and, turn up for dinner. At that time, I didn't have any money to even buy any dinner. My house was getting repossessed. I had gotten on the property ladder by 21. So it was a real humbling experience. And at the time, I didn't understand, why am I going through this? I used to think, but I'm a good person, God. I was only trying to help my own people and lift them up. It took me a long time to really understand the why I went through that. But you know what? It was absolutely the best thing that ever happened to me. It opened up my mind. It made me become a learner. It made me challenge myself. It just made me think more three-dimensional. And from there, I had to figure out how to pay all this debt back. And that's when I actually launched a cleaning business. So I was literally picking up the phone, posh voice, hello, Essex County Cleaners. And then I would turn up to their house and start cleaning. So then I got an office job. That office job ended up speaking to someone in the office and I landed myself a retail contract, national, over the whole of the UK. And that's when I really elevated myself and I got to learn the grassroots of business, of supply and demand. But then I had children. I could not sustain running a business at that level. So I sold it for 500,000. So that was the first time that, it's like, okay, in business, I felt like, you know what, I've landed. But I think the experience of bankruptcy really is what kept me grounded and kept me humble. So then I felt like there's all these white male 50-year-olds talking about business coaching. They've never started their own business. By this time, I was on my second business. One was successful. I've been bankrupt already. I thought, that's it, I'm going to go into coaching. So I got my ICF, my International Coaching Federation certificate, and I decided that I'm going to go into life coaching. Life coaching wasn't for me, way too hardcore. I'm a black girl. So when you want, you're thinking you can meet with me and I'm going to spray some magic dust on you and you're just going to poof be where you want to be. It's that expression, you can take the horse to water, but you can't force it to drink. So I realised I'm way too hardcore. I'm talking to these people like I'm a mum. They're going to start firing me soon or giving me bad reviews. So I decided, you know what, let's go over to corporate training. So that took me into places like Dubai, where I worked for a while, and I started doing a lot of corporate training. But I just wasn't satisfied. Something was missing because I'm an entrepreneur. For those of you know, entrepreneurialism is not a choice. It's almost like an artistic form. It runs through your veins. So then I thought, okay, I'm going to go to China. I'm going to design my own range of candles and I'm going to become an e-commerce seller. I'm going to sell on Amazon and I'm going to build myself a Shopify site. So I did that. I'm thinking, the money's going to come in. I sold nothing when I first launched. So that's what really brought me on a journey of how do I sell online? And the biggest secret that I can give you of selling online successfully and even being visible online, you've got to be able to connect. You've got to be able to understand the hardware, which is the laptop, the smartphone, your tablet. But you've got to be able to understand, how do I build real meaningful relationships through that technology? How do I actually connect with people and create a community and a tribe? How do you get them to know and trust me? But do it authentically. How many of you right now will scroll down your Instagram feed and probably 9 out of the 10 ads that you see, you feel sold to? You've seen that format before. Even down to the script people are using, you can hear there's a framework and it hasn't got that authenticity there. So, I went on a mission for probably about a good 7 years of software, technology, digitalization, content creation, software, automation, email, copywriting, the whole shebang. And I really managed to perfect it and became a successful e-commerce seller. Within that time, because I was in the corporate world training, I then fell into doing a lot of speaking and coaching and training for other organizations. So that was an amazing opportunity. I got to speak on stages internationally. I was speaking a lot for Google. I was doing a lot for the London Mayor's office, like local government, where there was a lot of money being pumped into upskilling small businesses and teaching them how to get online and how to be visible. And it was a great experience. A lot of bite back, if you want me to be honest with you, because a lot of things that are taught in an institution, they don't translate to a commercial world. So a lot of times I could be literally standing on stage, look at the screen behind me and think, that is not true. So I bring my own energy and personality. My clients that I had didn't really like that, but I got great feedback. So, you know, we kind of had a love and hate relationship. Then, before COVID, I found out how much others were getting paid to speak and what I was getting paid. And all I'm gonna say is that I was insulted. I actually wanna swear, but I can't because I'm on camera. I was absolutely disgusted and insulted. And you know what? I thought, stuff you. I thought, I'm taking myself and I'm gonna teach my own community exactly what I know and how I can elevate. And then remember, I'm well read, so I understand music industry. You take our publishing rights, you make generational wealth. Sports, you take away a lot of the rights that we've got within the sports industry and treat us like we're a product. The hair industry, you know, it's $1 billion industry and we are not in it. We're not even in the conversation. We are not high up in it. So I kind of felt like, you know what, I'm done with this politeness. It feels like I'm always having to bend myself for this bigger corporate society in the Western world, where I just thought, I'm done. Went to Africa, and then I started to see the diaspora has started to see that, hang on a minute, this has got infrastructure. It's not African kids with flies flying around their face and everybody's starving. So I just felt like I'm done. I thought, you do you and I'm gonna do me. And actually, I'm gonna start a community that's for black women, and I'm gonna be incredibly unapologetic. This community is for black women. If you're not, find another community. If you don't like me, find someone else. There's so many channels out there. You can find a tribal community that you connect with. So I'm really here to be able to rise my people up and rise black women up. And I think that straw that broke the camel's back of finding out how little I was being paid compared to white males is what really catapulted and launched Women into Digital Business, where I started to teach black women how to build out funnels and sell online. And then just last year, we were like, okay, how do we take this globally? How do we make this into a movement? And that's when the top 100 most powerful black women summit was born. And we decided, you know what, let's put an event on where, like I said in the beginning, we can invite black female entrepreneurs or those that just want better from life, those that just want something more, and present them with an array of masterclasses and speakers of topics that they really need help to get ahead in. And then they could work with some of these women. So essentially what we've done is we've created a space for then black speakers, coaches, consultants, therapists, counselors, to come on board to run these masterclasses and actually give them the full opportunity to be able to upsell themselves so they can get leads and sales. We did it in March and we're doing it again in October. So that's why you got a message from us, and that's why we're reaching out to you. And we really want to be able to invite you to be able to come and run a masterclass. Either come and be a keynote speaker and speak live on a virtual stage, or actually come along if you're at the beginning of your journey, or even if you're scaling and you haven't quite got that digital presence and visibility, come on a 6 weeks course with me, not with anybody else. Another thing, I've been ripped off by these high ticket courses as well. So it's really important to me that I make sure that I offer complete value and I give you everything that you need to be able to build out a digital funnel and really understand how to sell online at a really affordable price that gives you information that's high strategy, relevant, and what the big boys are doing. Because I've paid a lot of money and I haven't got that investment back, or the information's been given to me like a layer of onion. So I'll finish a program and be like, okay, that was cool, but I still don't know X, Y, and Z. Our community doesn't work like that. If you do a program, I give you everything you need. So we've created a 6-week program, the Queen of Funnel Mastery, where you get to come and work with me, pick the software, so we take the tech overwhelm out, and you are able to build out your whole strategy in the software that you want, be able to launch and be able to understand exactly the digital journey that you are putting together, touch point by touch point, to really be able to connect with your audience. So from the last summit, we really noticed that there are really 3 types of women. And we found that there was the woman who is package 1, that is the content creator, loves being in front of the camera, is used to being in front of the camera, has got a podcast, is used to putting video out maybe on IG. So there's a comfortability of the camera, and also because they might edit, use CapCut, you know, they're fine if there's an error, they know they can edit it out, or maybe they've got an editor. You know, for them it's more comfortable to be on video because they know, actually, I can get my framework down to a T because I can edit, I can stop, I can start, I can do it in the comfort of my home. So that package allows you to be able to join the summit, be a speaker, you get your own page, and you can send in your recording. And that's how the first summit worked. But what we realised is there's also the second type of speaker, consultant or coach that isn't behind the camera that much. They're used to being on stage, they're used to being on a panel, they're used to turning up to live audiences, they're used to being on Zoom. They've been on camera, but they're not always feeling the camera. They haven't got that set up maybe at home or a connection to a studio where, you've got to get the lighting right, you've got to get the sound right, you've got to make sure you're dressed right, you've got to put makeup on, you've got to do your hair. There's a lot that can go into it, and that can be really overwhelming for some women, and also just be made to feel really self-conscious. It's not that easy to just be able to speak into the camera. It takes practice. So that's when we thought, okay, we're going to have a keynote spot for those that like that human interaction. Even though we're virtual, you're on a Zoom call, you can see people's emotions, you just can turn up, be yourself, and that's the space they're comfortable with. Then there's that third women that, does it but hasn't got an automation. Okay, so what I mean by that, they don't have a funnel. So maybe their masterclass is a really great TEDx talk and it's a great masterclass, but it doesn't relate to the arcs that they might have at the end of their masterclass. So what we learned from our previous summit, that we didn't realize the tech overwhelm that quite a lot of women experience. So there's some things that we have made changes to from our first summit, which was absolutely phenomenal. If you haven't checked out the review videos, please do. So we decided to, okay, let's do what we've always done, which is you can pre-record your masterclass, it gets uploaded, you're a part of the summit, you're gonna get authority, you'll get your own page with your video on, you can promote it, you can invite people to it, and you can even use the content within your own marketing. So then we thought to ourselves, okay, so we've got that package, which really helps the people that are really great with, might have a little space with content, they've got lighting, they can film, their sound's correct. And content creators, because they know they can turn the camera on and off, they can edit. Sometimes when they're live, it can be a bit disastrous because there isn't that rewind. It isn't there. When it's live, it's live. You go out and you're gonna have to go through the mistakes and kind of bring it back. There's times that I've even been live and I'm like, what was I just saying? I'm still speaking, but in my mind, I'm thinking, oh my God, what's coming next? I can't remember. And there's a moment of desperation. Even though I'm talking, it might not sound like it. So the person that's really comfortable with the camera can often, sometimes, not always, but sometimes when they're live or they're in person, it can feel like to get the structure that they get on camera is a lot of pressure. Then there is the woman that has, got clients, understands how to deliver a masterclass, whether it's in person, can sometimes even do it on camera. But what's missing is that arcs, that call to action. And to be honest with you, this third woman lives in us all. This third person used to be me, if you want me to be honest with you. And it lives in all of us. So this package might be the package that even if you are the content creator, you love the camera and you're good at it, even if you prefer to be a keynote and speak in front of a virtual audience, in fact, all of us at some time or another needs woman number 3. And woman number 3 problem can be that she understands exactly who her audience is, she's got a product, she understands what she's selling, but it's hard to understand what are the next steps that come. So this affects all of us, to be honest with you. So if you're in a place where it's kind of like, okay, I don't have a sales page, I don't have a CRM, I don't have like emails that I send out to a list, I don't have a journey where I'm really intentional how I make people aware of me through a story, and then from that story they can learn more about me by multiple touch points that are digital. Because with digitalization, you can collect the data. You don't have to guess anymore. If you send someone somewhere and you've got 3 touch points, so let's say you're at our summit, you deliver a masterclass, you then want someone to buy your book. After buying your book, you want them to work with you as a coach and consultant. There's a number of digital touch points that need to come where you're either collecting someone's data, you're then nurturing them through messages, WhatsApp, Slack, whatever platform that you want to use, booking a call. Makes sense? And it needs to come in a format and a professionalism that the prospect is used to seeing so they can trust you. Once upon a time, we just had to get a logo, knock up a website, and we're good to go. Nowadays, I'm like, ooh, there's a percentage sign in the URL. That URL doesn't look quite right. Ooh, Hotmail, Yahoo email address. Opt-in page that, doesn't quite sit right or isn't edited correctly. We are used to seeing our pages and the user experience of web pages look a particular way to make us trust. So it's really important as a solopreneur, a small business, a coach or a consultant that you have to be able to put together that same type of automation to get trust. So the third package is really if you're in a place where you don't have a funnel, you don't have that automation, and you're struggling because you're doing a lot of things. Another thing is this world is so busy. Do a podcast. Is your podcast just audio? I think you need to get it on YouTube. Oh my God, TikTok's not just for Gen Z. Older people are on there too. You should have a presence on there. No, IG Lives, they're really great because they can connect with your audience and you can connect with other audiences. No, LinkedIn. You've really got to nurture people though and put automated messages together. Do you want me to keep going on? It's too much. It's too much. You're one person. You don't have a whole agency behind you. So when you're trying to do all of that and then you don't have the right landing pages, you're not pushing them to the right place, giving the right information, you can end up losing so much leads and losing so much sales. You're practically leaving money on the table. So package 3 teaches you how to put together an automation that suits you, suits your budget, suits your skill set, and it takes the overwhelm because we teach you what software to put it into that suits you to keep the cost down. So person 3 could be, 1 and 2, an amalgamation, but I understand person 3. To be fair, I understand all 3 women. So we just decided to put 3 packages together that's really going to help you be able to elevate yourself, elevate your business at a price you can afford. So I urge you to pick one of the packages. Don't miss the early bird prices. If you've got any questions at all, no question is a silly question, firm believer of that. Just book a call, okay? So just click the button below and either sign up or book a call.